Peace. This is Waz for Waz Words Media, back at y'all for another round. And we are coming off one of the greatest weeks in boxing history. And we witness one of the greatest performances in a generational fight that you will ever see. And that is in a 50-50 fight. For it to be completely dominated one side by one man, that's rare. And we saw that when Terence Crawford completely, he pitched a shutout. Only round he lost was the first round, I would say. And that's a round that probably could have went either way, but I give it to Spence because he was trying to establish the jab. And Crawford was still downloading, processing the information. So I give Spence the first, but after the first, it was just 8 straight rounds of domination by Terence Crawford. So now, with that behind us, now that the dust settled and the smoke is clear, now where do we go from here? What do I think should happen next for Terence Crawford, and what do I think should happen next for Errol Spence? Let's begin with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, like Errol Spence, is considering moving up to the 154-pound junior middleweight division. I think it is time for him to move up, and Errol Spence as well. And I know even if you go back and you look at the fight, Terence Crawford during the fight is going at it with Jermell Charlo. Like, they yapping back and forth, and he's talking smack. And even before the Errol Spence fight, Terence Crawford said that he wanted to fight Jermell Charlo. He wanted to move up and become undisputed at 154, fighting Jermell Charlo. And Jermell Charlo said, "Man, listen, man, you got Errol Spence to think about. Keep my name out your mouth." So, hey, fast forward a bit, Terence Crawford beats Errol Spence. So now, should he fight Jermell Charlo next? I say for that fight, let's pump our brakes a little bit, because breaking news came out from the WBO, which y'all played yourselves, man. WBO, what's up with y'all with that? They stripped Jermell Charlo of his title because he is pursuing the Canelo Alvarez fight instead of fighting Tim Tszyu. So now, with this breaking news, Tim Tszyu has been elevated to the WBO champion. So now Tim Tszyu is the WBO champion because Jermell Charlo has been stripped from his title. It's funny how they don't strip Canelo Alvarez, though, when Canelo Alvarez is moving up, bouncing around different weight classes, and he hasn't defended his WBO title, and they didn't strip him. But they went ahead and stripped Charlo. But that's another story for another day. In any event, now we have Tim Tszyu elevated to the WBO champion. I would like to see Terence Crawford in his debut at 154 taking on Tim Tszyu for that WBO title. That, I think, will be a great fight. I think, Tim Tszyu naturally fighting at a bigger weight class. We got to remember Terence Crawford came up from lightweight. He's moved up 3 times already. So, this will be his 4th move. And I think he has the skill to become champion, and even undisputed champion at 154 as well. But I think this will be the fight for us to, gauge how Terence Crawford is going to be at the 154. Because, again, he's moving up in weight, man. This is going to be his 4th weight class. That's a lot. That's a lot asking from anybody. Not everybody can move up like that. But he's a special talent, so I can see him becoming champion once again at 154. And I think this will be a great start at his championship pursuit, taking on the newly awarded WBO champion Tim Tszyu. So I think that should be the match right there, Crawford Tszyu. As for Errol Spence, I know Errol Spence after the fight, and I want to take a minute just to say peace to Errol Spence. I hope that the brother is doing well. I hope you are in, you know, as they say, good spirits, you know, which simply means I hope you're in a sound mind. I hope you're feeling focused. I hope the negativity is not outweighing the positive, because you went out there and you did something that many people have not done, and that is take on the very best out there. You know, you got people like Canelo Alvarez who run away from the top talent in their weight class. Errol Spence could have easily dropped his 3 belts and moved up to 154 and avoid this Terence Crawford fight, but he didn't do that. So he deserves all the credit in the world as well. He's a tremendous champion, and you know, I got a lot of love for Spence. I hope that he's once again in a sound mind, positive thinking, and that he's focused for a comeback. However, that comeback should not be against Terence Crawford. I know he's asked for that Terence Crawford fight. He said that he wants to have that fight at 154 sometime around December. But truthfully speaking, I don't think that's the fight right now that he should go after. I think the fight that Errol Spence should take at 154 pounds is Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, he's been on social media lately after this fight. He's dropped a couple videos or whatever, and he seems like he's hyped. He seems inspired. He seems excited after that performance, you know, being there firsthand, witnessing history, knowing that he could be or could have been one of those 2 fighters in that ring, because at one point, you know, Keith one time Thurman was like that top 2 guys in that weight class before Crawford got there. So I know there's a part of him that looked at that whole scenario, was sitting there and was like, man, that could have been me up there, you know, a part of this historic event. So I think that inspired him. He sounds very inspired, very motivated. He's calling out Crawford, but I don't think that's the fight yet. I think he should go, because he recently moved up to 154, and Errol Spence will be making his debut at 154. So I think that would be a perfect fight for both of them in their new weight class, especially since that fight was supposed to go down long before at 147. So now, in the new weight class, where they should both be more comfortable making the weight, and they both should be they should both be approaching this new opportunity as a new chapter, new weight class, and putting all the negativity behind them, and start off their new campaign at 154 pounds with a huge win. Whether it's Thurman beating Spence or Spence beating Thurman, both of them need a huge victory attached to their name, and I think this is it. This one will be a good gauge of where they're at. A good gauge on the barometer for where they're at for either Thurman or Spence. And then I say the winner of this fight can meet the winner of Crawford and Tim Tszyu. You know, so that would either be Keith Thurman getting the fight that he's been calling out for the past few days against Crawford, or that will be Errol Spence getting his rematch, but this time at 154. So let me know in the comment section what y'all think should be the next move for both Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. Where should they go from here? Or do you agree with my take on it, which is basically a match between Crawford, Tim Tszyu for the WBO title, and then you got Spence, Thurman, and the winners meet off. I'm Wise for Wise Words Media. Peace.